Yeah, so today's episode we're going to talk about the tragic death of Charlie Kirk.
Hmm.
That was a shock to the country. I think no matter what side you were on, period. I was driving home that day, and my cousin called me on the phone, and his first words are, "Did you hear? Did you hear?" And I got like that knot in my stomach. He says, "Did you hear about Charlie Kirk?" And I immediately said, "No way. Tell me that's not something happened to Charlie Kirk." Yeah, assassinated. Speaking. Gosh, it was. I don't know how it affected you at the time, and I don't know how, but for me, as someone who I consider myself in the middle, but I definitely lean right.
Hmm.
When I think about a lot of the really high profile names on the right now, people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, maybe like Theo Vaughn, um, Joe Rogan, um, all those people have something in common, in my opinion. And I would say that's either a growing anti-Semitism or a entrenched, the worst, most poisonous, vile version of anti-Semitism you can possibly think of. And I'm specifically talking about Tucker and Candace right now.
Hmm.
A couple years back, I would have always put, and I think a lot of people still would, they'd put Charlie Kirk in the same sentence as these same people. But the reality is they were very, very different. Charlie, as you probably know, I'm a big proponent of Israel. And that's only because I do a lot of research in my
Hmm.
free time into finding out the truth of what's going on. You know, and Charlie was a huge, huge fan of Israel. He was a Christian. He was religious, and according to him, as he said at one time, he said something to the effect of, "As far as I'm concerned, the Jews are God's chosen people in this life and in the next." To make it crystal clear how he felt
Hmm.
about the Jews being a Christian.
It's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement. What it says is that I have your back.
Mhm.
That's what it says. Is say I'm doing some of the research myself, and I'm going to speak the truth, irrelevant of anything else.
Hmm.
And so for me, and Charlie's whole thing is he was a talker. His whole thing was he literally talked about when we stop talking, that's when violence occurs. He
Yeah.
literally went to institutions, places where our youngest who have just gotten out of college, who are just going into this world where they're being often in, I don't know if indoctrinated into that world, but they have so much information thrown at them,
Hmm.
and their opinions are really starting to form that'll often, I think, set the stage of their entire lives after that.